Next, let me introduce the seventh speaker. Kotaro Miyauchi from Keio University will deliver the speech under the title of May the Right Language Be With You. May the Right Language Be With You. Kotaro Miyauchi, please come up to the center of the stage.
Appreciated Master of Ceremony and distinguished judges and others. These days, it feels like everything has to be global. The very sound of globalization drives not only governments or corporations, business persons, but also students as well. Have you ever felt you aren't global because your English isn't perfect? I bet dedicated English learners like you, ladies and gentlemen, here today have felt this at least once. I grew up entirely in Japan. I'm not a returnee unlike others, and I used to hate studying anything, and I was just another student trying to survive by earning some famous English qualifications like TOEIC. I mean, no offense, but no offense. And since it is highly evaluated at recruitment. But as I grew up and more passionate about learning, I became absorbed in physics. And that's when I realized there's true value in creative subjects, not only in practical English. But look around my surroundings, and many of my friends spend most of their time on memorizing English vocabularies. And then I've got a question. Is the improvement of students' English proficiency truly essential? And here's my thesis. The important thing isn't making everyone fluent, but matching the right language to the right person. Well, let's ground the terms. Globalization is when goods, capital, and information move across borders, and people who keep this movement going are global talents in this context, and I've defined two types of them. First ones, people who create value, like researchers, engineers, designers, artists. Let's call them makers. On the other hand, people who carry value to the world through languages, negotiations, storytelling, and let's call them communicators. So both matters, but they need very different superpowers, like Iron Man and Captain America. They're in the same team, but different gear. It's also like Sherlock Holmes and Dr. John Watson. And Holmes discovers truth, and Watson will amplify it so the world can understand him. Oh, let's move on to the actual global talent, Shohei Ohtani. When Major League Baseball team evaluated him, the decisive metric wasn't score of IELTS, obviously. It was 100-mile-per-hour talent. Radar gun measures velocity, not vocabulary, which means his performance crossed the borders. And that's a maker whose value travels before the words do. And he's not alone. Hayao Miyazaki's film needed no English monologue to conquer box offices and win the Oscars. His story and breathtaking paintings did the talking. On a more familiar scale, even a factory craftsman who cannot speak a word of English can still be considered a global talent if he can manufacture airplane parts for Boeing. However, in this country, the conversation often slips into one tiny box. Global talent equals very fast English. In accordance with my definition, people consider only communicators as global talents and trying to reform education, train more communicators by shifting curriculum, emphasize English. It's fine, but it's going to be a problem, could be. Because once pendulum of education swings too far into one direction, we will pay some prices. Price number one is thinking quality. Research in cognitive science shows that people think more clearly in their first language. And when you're taking courses of university or testing new assumptions or ideas, this is especially true. Working in your strongest language often means thinking faster, deeper, and cleaner. But some universities are trying to teach everything, include highly specialized course in English, and this actually can lower students' learning efficiency. And price number 2 is learning cost. English and Japanese live far too apart, and lifting every Japanese student to the same high level takes enormous times. And if we put those hours uniformly into English while school days, we obviously squeeze other subjects. Math or science or experiments, the field where Japan can stand out. Now, I'm not dismissing English at all. English is like a force multiplier, and the important things is who, when, and how deep. Not everyone sprinting toward the same finish line. Depth that matches the role and aptitude. So, how should education be? It should be balanced. Balanced. Well, its purpose is to build a foundation for potential makers and communicators, not trying to make them. To build a foundation. And they don't have to be a perfect speaker, and they don't have to be. And what matters is to planting seeds for those who will be. They will study by their own. And my fellow students, how should we respond to that? The first step will be a personal. Each of us need to ask, am I more of a maker or a communicator in long run? If you're a communicator, then yes, you should invest seriously in English. Because if your future is in international communication or diplomacy or relation, English is your part of your toolkit. And however, foreign language is not enough. You need solid knowledge of your field, what you communicate about. And if you are more a maker, my proposal is different. First, focus on deepen your expertise or specialty or interests, and spend most of your energy to learn how to write a code or run experiments or understand theories. Then learn just enough English that roles requires you to do so. Publishing papers or reading papers, emailing collaborators, so on. And then, it is important not to be swayed by a misguided notion of globalization, but to use the right language in each context. Foreign languages can become a powerful tool for communicators to help more people acknowledge makers' ideas, but when it comes to understand makers' ideas and when it comes to understand theories and makers' own, it could be obstacles. And after all, on a global stage, makers create value and the communicator will amplify it. And together, we elevate it. That's a flywheel. And let me close this with a clear principle. Not everyone must become fluent, but matching the right language to the right person. With a country limited resources, this is not a luxury, it's a strategy. May the right language be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kotaro Miyauchi. Then, we will have a question and answer session. Dr. Sasayama, please begin.
Thank you, Kotaro. So your speech was entertaining and mind-stretching at the same time. So thank you. All right, so let me ask you a few questions. What does ideal English education in Japan look like for you? And can you give some concrete examples?
These days, the governments are trying to step forward. They are trying to start the English curriculum from primary school. But for me, it's too much. There are many good things of Japanese education, that they are good at math or something. And I don't want government to break them. So specifically, I like current situation because I mostly learn English from school's materials, and I'm satisfied with that. So I don't want to change it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So students don't always know what their future holds, right? So you don't necessarily know if you're going to be a maker or a communicator. So how do you think they can choose or they can decide how much English to learn?
I mean, well, they don't know. I don't even know, but they should think whether they are communicators or makers. They should think, but I mean, there is no specific standard or condition that I can show to you. But what is important is, say, center of gravity of each person. I mean, there are always tendency. I mean, I'm a bit hesitating with math, but speaking English is kind of fun and entertaining and looks cool for me. Then you can probably adapt to communicator. But I was firstly communicator-ish person. Then I turned into maker. So, that's I think that's the most interesting part of your life. So maybe your role will change right in the middle of your life, and then you can enjoy it and do your best.
Okay, thank you. So could you identify any potential drawbacks of your suggestion, and how do you propose we would deal with them?
Well, I've seen many friends or classmates that blindly study English, and despite he seems to have talented of math but he didn't go to science faculty since it is not practical and low salary or but this theory, model can help them with understand their role or position among the people or society by simplified 2 pillars. So maybe this model can help them with identify what they are or who they are.
Okay, thank you. Maybe one last quick question. So language learning actually has a lot of different benefits, right? So be it social, psychological, or cognitive. So it's not just about global communication, but there's a value in learning a new language. It doesn't have to be English, but you know. So what do you think about that? What is your take on that argument?
English is important, definitely. And I love English, and English helps me a lot. So, there's no way to stop learning English. But, well, it's just like speaking English equals justice is current Japanese's vibe. And I think that's not right. English is fun, but not be forced to learn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sasayama. Then Dr. Jacobson, please.
Okay, thank you very much for that speech. It was very heartfelt and direct. And I especially like the way your personality comes through and you're able to connect with the audience very, very authentically. So when thinking about your speech, I often think about the high school students and sometimes middle school students I see on the train, and they're studying so hard with these English 300-word books, and you can tell how stressed they are. And I'm right next to them, and I just sometimes feel a sense of empathy, like, how about I take a piece of my brain and give it to you for this test? What practical advice would you have for these junior and high school students who are on their way to a big test in English?
Advice?
Yeah, advice of a mindset that they should adopt as they approach these tests, which to them can be very stressful.
Well, believe or not, I wasn't very diligent student, but so, university is large, and that tiny test won't affect your entire life. So just go easy and don't take it seriously. Like, if you're having an entrance exam, then that's going to be a problem. But I think it's just a tiny, small quiz in the classroom. So don't be so sweat. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Your argument suggests a kind of different approach for young people based on different levels of aptitude. when's the right time to give those tests so that you don't shut off opportunities for people who may just be a bit of a late bloomer? They do have these abilities, but maybe at that time they don't. What's the right time frame to sort of make these decisions?
By entering university, I think, because university is very specialized education association, and that 4 years will determine who you are and what life are you going to have. I think so. I mean, starting CPA's study from high school is nonsense, I think. I mean, I'm from integrated high school, so I see those sort of students very often. But I think it's nonsense. But entering university and, know the reality of society, or, I mean, the chances you hear about recruitment or business will increase after entering university, then you can start to think about your career. Yeah. So don't be rushed, but quickly.
Okay, thanks. And this last question connects to Dr. Sasayama's question as well. Language is not just about words and grammar and sentences and spelling and things like that, but really it's a window to different cultures and different people. How can we teach global cooperation, international relations, all those things without language or in other ways besides language?
I think internet is fine. I mean, there are many funny so-called memes on the internet, and I like watching it, but it is required us to understand other cultures' context or some basic English words. So probably there's going to be a window for them to dive into the other cultures and try to enjoy them, understand them. So, and don't start from textbook or newspapers, but internet or funny videos, silly videos is fine, I think.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jacobson. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Sasayama, Dr. Jacobson, and Kotaro Miyauchi. Kotaro Miyauchi, please return to your seat. Please give the judges a few minutes to mark their judging sheets